So I was teaching at Life Bible College for the fall of 1981 and the spring of 1982. Now this class, I was teaching a couple of classes actually, and more than that, I think I got four classes anyway. I was the term ended in March. Now I had been planning a trip to the Philippines to return to the Philippines, where Connie and I, with the girls, lived for that year when I was the interim director of the Bible College there, and we both taught, Connie and I, and worked and developed staff. In any event, I was returning, so that the students who would have been freshmen our year there were now graduating. And I'd been invited to come, and so that trip was being put together. And there's a doctor friend who was going to go with me, and I was seeing him, talking to him about it, and he just said, "Look, I just really can't go. Something's come up. I just cannot go." But here, and he gave me a check for $1,500 to pay for my trip. And then he gave me this garlic extract. It was Kyolic, which is considered to be the Cadillac of uh, garlic. Anyway, you had to make your own. These little gelatin capsules and the liquid. You had an eyedropper, and you put them in there, and you made your own. And he said, here's what you do. Since you have not had your tetanus, the typhoid or paratyphoid shots, there's a property in garlic that kind of bonds with the buggies in the water. So if you've had water or you're not sure how the vegetables are clean, he said, just take 3 or 4 of these capsules in or around every mealtime, and you won't get sick. And so I did, and I did not get sick. In any event, I took off, and so this doctor friend gratefully paid for my trip and helped to keep me healthy on that 3-week trip. And while I was there, I went down to the Bible College, which is about 180 miles south of Manila, and I took a little plane down there that I've been on before. Excuse me. When we lived there, I knew all about that. Anyway, I was down there for this teaching and ministering in the college, speaking in some churches. And while I was gone, we got a phone call from Connie, and it was there was a missionary there who was living in Manila, and I was staying at their home. And she goes, Connie called and needs to talk to you. So I called Connie back, and she said, "Listen, Dr. Jones, who was a district supervisor for Foursquare Churches for Southern California District, called, and he wants you to consider pastoring the church in Highland Park." He said, "Normally, Connie, I don't do this, where I talk without the husband to the husband or without the two of you together, but I know you and Jim, and I feel comfortable doing that. And so I'm going to say to you what I would think you're supposed to do and offer this to you. And then if you can get back to me on that, you can wait till Jim gets home or whatever." So we discussed it. We felt that it was the Lord. And I don't recall now if we contacted him before I came back or not, but in any event, we accepted the call to the Highland Park Foursquare Church while I was in the Philippines. So I was glad that I was able to return to the Philippines. I had no idea, as that time concluded, that we would be looking at a new assignment at a church in Highland Park. And by the way, when I was still at Church on the Way, Connie and I drove out there one day and passed Highland Park on into South Pasadena. And I told her I'd known that church. I'd been that whole area. I was in youth group meetings when I was growing up. And I said I would never want to pastor there. We kept driving and we were looking at South Pasadena. That didn't materialize. But now I'm asked to go there. And I thought, well, isn't that interesting? So apparently God put Highland Park in my mind, but just I didn't really interpret it correctly. And so I came home, and in early April, we began our ministry there at the Highland Park Church in Highland Park, California. That's the story. And of course, that put me in close proximity to a church plant down the road that belonged to Mike and Lori O'Brien. We'll talk more about that.